All right, here's another fairy tale they believe in, Sleeping Beauty. And there is this bacteria here that was found dormant, claimed to have been revived after being dormant for 8 million years. We're going to find out the ages that they give it they just pull them out of a hat. I mean, they could roll dice and pick a number, whatever, play cards, add them together, whatever they want to do, because they're just pulling numbers out of a hat. Because right in the same article, the scientist there, Sykes, he says, studies of the rate of breakdown of DNA in laboratory conditions indicate that no DNA would remain intact much beyond 10,000 years. And then they're telling us this thing has been dormant for 8 million years. And another one, like Charles Greenblatt here, claimed to have found dormant bacteria and resurrected it that was in amber and had been dormant for 120 million years. Hey, Bob Warner was there. He can tell you it was not there back then.
Exactly right.
No, it just scientifically doesn't add up. I mean, when you got, this guy right here, and I'll have 3 or 4 more quotes that tell you how long this DNA can last. He says no DNA is going to last much beyond 10,000 years under any conditions, let alone millions and millions of years. And we're going to see a few more quotes. Now we go from the fairy tales to some cartoons. Scientists found that sea sponges share 70% of human genes. Now, does that mean sponges are 70% human? Or that humans are 70% sponge?
Yes.
Well, he's the pastor. He knows you guys. Now, I did some... Hey, if scientists can look this stuff up and devise their evolutionary charts, I decided I can do the same thing. And I actually looked up on the internet to see if I could find sponges evolving into humans. And sure enough, I found the cave sponge, and then I looked and I found a guy that was mostly sponge with arms and human legs coming out, and then another guy that's half and half. He's got a head coming out, arms and legs, and the girl in the corner is almost totally human. So you can see the progression from sponge to human. I mean, it's how can you deny it? There it is. I mean, it's just like when they show you the skulls turning from ape all the way into human. There it is, right? Pictures right in front of your eyes. So how can you silly creationists believe that mythological book when you got the proof right here in front of your eyes? Sponges are 70% human. And I discovered the pinnacle of sponge evolution. It just soaks in everything and doesn't let anything get out. All right, now we also see evolutionists believe in ghosts. You say, oh, come on, man, you've gone through all these fairy tales they believe in, now you're saying they believe in ghosts. This is not my word. It's their own word. All right, we'll take a look at what they said about it. Now, see, they're trying to prove that lizards and fish evolved into each other. And they had found fossils of a fish called the coelacanth, and it was a lobe fin. What they're saying is all these fins are growing into legs. And they had fossils that looked a little more like fish and fossils that looked a little more like lizards, and then they said, see, that proves one's evolving into the other, but they didn't have any of the links in between. And they still don't. So what they said was all these links in between, they got to be there because evolution's true, right? They got to be there. So they're ghost lineages. We just can't find them. Well, then they started catching coelacanths back in the 1930s. They caught the first one. They've caught several of them since. They've got them in some aquariums in different places in the world. And they look exactly like they looked in the fossil record, the same kind of fins. They're not evolving from anything, not evolving into anything. They're not evolving into lizards. They're fish. So now the one they thought was their closest thing to a missing link, they don't have that anymore either. But yet they come right out and say that this forces us to infer much longer ghost lineages for tetrapods, that's the lizards, 4 legs, tetrapods, and whatever that other word is, lobe-fin fish, than the body fossil record suggests. Yeah, the fossil record suggests there's no links in between. They don't have any, not one. So they call them ghost lineages. They believe in ghosts. So when you start looking at the facts, they have to believe in ghosts. They have to believe in fairy tales because they don't have facts. They also believe in magic. I talked a little bit about the cell earlier, and you see this thing called a bacterial flagellum It's like an outboard motor, and it literally does have every little part that is in a motor to make the tail spin and propel it around. It spins at 100,000 RPM. That's twice as fast as our fastest jet fighters. And it can stop and reverse direction within 3 spins. Let's see an F-15 do that. Stop and reverse within 3 spins. This thing can do it because God made it. And they realize, man, this is something that just blows us away. I mean, wow, it can do things that we can't even comprehend, that we can't even imagine being physically possible, but it does it. So they said the bacterial flagellum may look like an outboard motor. Yeah, it sure does. It has every part of the motor, O-rings and everything. But there is at least one profound difference. The flagellum assembles spontaneously. Have you ever seen an outboard motor assemble spontaneously? Just grab a bunch of parts and throw them in the air and they assemble spontaneously? But something that's incredibly more complicated than an outboard motor, that assembled spontaneously, that's what they believe, that's what they admit to. I'm not making fun of them, that's what they said. They said it assembles spontaneously without the help of any conscious agent. Natural forces work like magic. See, they don't have facts, they have to rely on magic and ghosts and fairy tales. That's their best evidence. They also believe in science fiction. This one blew my mind.